there, my name is Julian, and in this video, I want to talk to you about something that is super duper relevant to any agency owner or freelancer, and that is scope creep. How do you stop it from happening? First things first, like I said, my name is Julian and I work for MemberStack. If you don't know what MemberStack is, it allows you to add logins, signups, gated content, Stripe payments, and a heck of a lot more to your Webflow or WordPress site. There's a link in the description if you want to go check it out. Now, before my time at MemberStack, I was both a freelancer and a Webflow agency owner. So I had dealt with a lot of different clients over the span of my career, and I had to deal with scope creep quite a lot, especially at the beginning. You know, if you're not already aware of what I mean by scope creep, what I mean is you agree on a project with a client, let's say a website, and you build their website, and then they come and say, wait, we just want to add this one extra thing. Say, okay, not a problem, I'll add it in. Then they say, no, we just one more thing. No problem, I'll add it in. Just one more thing. Just one more thing. Just one more thing. And that one more thing always leads to another thing. So what that actually looks like for you is you are now making less money because you're doing work that you're not being paid for. You're doing worse work because you're not being paid for it. And you're souring the client relationship because you're delivering worse work. So it is absolutely detrimental to your client relationships, and it's a big problem. So in this video, we are going to go over why it's happening, how you can stop it, and what that's going to look like for you as an agency owner or freelancer. Let's get right into it right now. Now, before I talk about how you can solve scope creep, I want to talk a little bit about what is causing the problem. And this might come as a surprise to you because it sure came as a surprise to me. And that is this: if you're having scope creep in most of your projects, the problem, more than likely, isn't the clients, it's you. The problem in the scope creep in my career was also me. Now, you might be looking and going, Julian, I'm watching a video right now and I want to learn from you how I can get rid of scope creep. How is it my fault? What am I doing that's leading to scope creep? Clients are just asking for more work than they paid for, right? Well, no. And that leads us into our first problem: expectations. One of the most valuable things that I learned as an agency owner is that 90% of the client relationship is determined before that first contract is even signed. And you're probably thinking, how? How's that work? That's just step one. How's that going to determine the outcome of the entire client relationship? Well, the thing is, we all know the feeling too well. And that is when a client comes knocking on our door, in our inbox, wherever it is, and they want that website or whatever it is that you do. Perhaps it's one of the most exciting and fun things about being a freelancer or an agency owner, the rush of that new project, the excitement of getting to deliver some really amazing work, and obviously the awesome payday that's going to come when you deliver the work. The last thing on your mind at that point in time is scope creep, at least it was for me. And that is exactly what the problem is: expectations. You're excited to land this deal, and so you're talking to the client and you are telling them all of the right things. Just, you're going to do the work, what it's going to look like, here's the price, sign the dotted line, and let's go. You need to be very, very careful when you're setting these expectations when this client comes to you, because they don't know what to expect right now. They want a website, but you are the expert. They don't know what to expect. So if you go ahead and tell them, hey, I'm going to make your website, you're going to get unlimited revisions, you can add in the copy later, it's no problem, just sign here. Perhaps it seems good right now because you're going to get that first signature and perhaps that first payment. But what's going to happen is you are setting up the entire project for failure. You may have said unlimited revisions, expecting your client to just maybe ask a couple things. But when you say unlimited revisions, you are essentially telling your client, hey, treat me as your own personal design tool. If you want to try something out, let me know. If you don't like it, I'll change it. So you're telling your clients that, and chances are that's not what you want to be doing. I have never met a web professional who wants to be sitting there with someone telling them what to build, they build it, they delete it, and they do the same thing over and over again. Nobody wants to be doing that, and yet unlimited revisions are so often included in a scope. So that's not even scope creep. You've essentially worked into the scope that the client could ask you for anything and you're going to do it. So very simply, if you are putting unlimited revisions in your scope, take it out now. You will not regret it. That being said, unlimited revisions are not the only incorrect expectation being set. Whatever you're doing before that deal is closed needs to be a representation of what that client is going to experience after the deal is closed as well. For example, let's say your client or prospective client sent you an email asking a question about the proposal at 9 p.m. on a Friday. If you respond to that email at 9 p.m. on a Friday, the client is going to expect you to respond to every email and Slack message that they send you at any time on any day, because that's what you did and that's what you showed them leading up to this project, that you're always there and always ready to respond. But we're all humans. People don't expect you to be up at 3 a.m. responding to their questions about the corner radius on a button. So you don't need to do that at the start of the project either. You need to look at it and say, how is this project going to go? When the client is a client, how am I going to respond to them? What info am I going to give them? And you need to provide that right away, the same experience, because if not, your clients are going to be expecting quick responses all around the clock. You're not able to deliver on that, and they're going to be upset with you, which is going to lead to a myriad of different problems. So, most important thing that you need to remember from this segment of the video is think about what experience you're going to offer your clients and offer them that same experience from the time they first contact you. No better, no worse. And you may be thinking, what if I don't respond on a Friday at 9 p.m. and I lose the sale? I'm going to tell you what, you are better off losing that sale, because the kind of client that expects you to respond at that time is not going to be a good client to have. You're going to run into all sorts of problems. You can even run into things like chargebacks where you do the work and you don't get paid for it. It's a really messy situation. So you want to vet that client from day one, just like that client is vetting you, because this is not a one-way relationship. You and the client are equals, and you need to determine if it's going to be a good fit. But if you provide an experience different to what that client is going to get once they pay, you are in for a really bad time. So expectation setting is probably the most important thing that you can do to get rid of scope creep. That being said, there is one other really big thing, and perhaps an easier one to implement, and that is your pricing. So we all know that project-based pricing instead of hourly-based pricing can be a lot more lucrative. You know, you can sell a website for, let's say, $10,000. If it takes you 30 hours to finish and the client's happy, you just made a lot of money in not very much time. The upsides are well known and well talked about. But the downside is that, like I said, it's not easy for you to include every single potential scenario in that quote. So because of that, you are going to be creating these gray areas in your scope. Unless you think of every possible scenario and every possible request and every possible revision, there are going to be gray areas in your scope where perhaps your client thinks you're going to do something for them and you don't think that, or you think it, but you're going to get paid more. That right there is a very dangerous situation, again, where your expectations and your client expectations are not on the same page. That is where all of your problems arise from. So you might be thinking, Julian, I've always done project-based pricing. I know a lot of people who make a lot of money doing it and they're not running into these issues. Why? I don't want to charge hourly-based pricing. Well, one thing that I will tell you is if you charge hourly-based pricing, you are pretty much getting rid of scope creep. That client can ask you for a bazillion revisions and, well, you don't care. You're getting paid for every last one of them. So that's great, but project-based pricing is not off the table. That being said, you need to charge project-based pricing on the things that can be anticipated. For example, let's say your project is to redesign a corporate website. Well, you can totally charge project-based pricing for the design itself. That being said, what most people do is they say, I'm going to design your site, then take a look at it, let me know what you want to change, and we'll take it from there. Scope creep alert, it's going to happen. If you want to charge for the design, let's say you want to charge $5,000 for the design, flat fee, no sort of hourly pay. That's totally fine, but don't make it the entire project. What you need to do when you're dealing with that client is you need to tell them from the start, hey, revisions, not mistakes, but revisions are billed extra at my hourly rate. I don't want you to have to pay me extra. I want this $5,000 to be all I make from this project. So please provide me with all of the information and all of your requests clearly from day one before I start designing your website. If you say that to your client, they will not have an issue with it because you're a human and you need to be paid, and that is fully understandable. Again, if that client has an issue with that, run away. You don't need that client in your life. Now, for the 98% of clients that are going to say, yes, of course, that's perfectly fine, what you're telling them now is that it's on you, Mr. or Mrs. Client, to provide me with the information that I need to do the right job from day one. And if you don't, and there's revisions, that is going to be on you. So you're essentially putting the responsibility on them to stop the revisions from happening in the first place. And again, if they don't provide that information and you get into a situation where there are revisions, they know they're going to have to pay you. And if anything, they're going to be apologizing to you, not the other way around. So the way that you set up expectations and the way that you price your projects, knowing where all of these hidden variables lie, is insanely important. So there you have it. The moral of this video is that you need to make sure you are removing any room in the process for scope creeps to arrive. If you set expectations correctly with your client from day one, and you price projects in a way that's not leaving room for responsibility to be on the wrong person, you are going to be able to do exactly what I did as a freelancer, and that is remove scope creep entirely. So I hope this video helped you. If there's anything I missed and any tips that you have, perhaps even easier ones for how you can reduce or remove scope creep, drop them in the comments below. I think people would love to hear them. If this video helped you, please like this video and subscribe to MemberStack for similar content in the future. Have an excellent day, and I'll talk to you soon.